Hello and welcome to the Recursion Cafe, where we play games from the discard pile. In today's game of Unmatched, we have Lucy on the left and Dan on the right. Lucy is playing the Raptors, 3 heroes who are melee with 7 health and 3 movement, and they like to hunt in a pack, so anytime they attack, they add 1 to the value of their attack card for each other Raptor adjacent to the defender. Really strong, really aggressive, with few defenses in the deck. And Dan is playing Yennenga, a ranged fighter with 2 movement and 15 health, and she can assign damage to her archers who have 2 health each in her zone. Also another fighter likes to hunt in a pack, although the kind of ranged version hunting in the same zone. Lucy is a newer member to the community. I think this is her second week coming, so welcome to the channel. And Dan of course has been around since the beginning. So here we have a maneuver and boost in. Dan went first with a double maneuver, and then Lucy then plays coordinated attack pattern for the second action, bringing all the other Raptors with her to stand right next to Yennenga in a very intimidating show of force. But that ends her turn, so she's ending next to Yennenga with 4 cards in hand, I believe, to Dan's 7. So here is a rain of arrows into a decoy. And decoy would normally put a Raptor next to the opposing fighter, but I don't think there's any space, so it doesn't really do anything, but it does stop the first rain of arrows. The second volley goes through undefended though, and so I believe Trax is the one that takes 3 damage. I generally call them Trax, Tiles, and Pogo. Trax and Tiles for the floor that's on the base, and then Pogo because he's jumping around on a Pogo. So we have a mover away with Dan, who maintains card advantage, and Lucy moves in again and attacks, showing off that trademark Raptor aggression. So here is a They Remember into a skirmish. Worth noting that Yennenga has no feints, so cannot cancel any of the action gains that the Raptors have. But Dan does win the combat, so moves that Raptor away. And here's another attack. This time, even though they're very close by, the Raptors are not flanking that archer, so it's still only the printed value of that card. So it's an ambush, which steals a card from Dan's hand, and it is a shield formation, so it is a 5 value attack. Unfortunately for Lucy, it's only going to an archer, but it does take that archer out, and that can be instrumental in taking apart Yennenga because it removes her ability to heal them and to siphon damage off on her own terms. So looks like Lucy's only got 2 cards in hand. Dan will move away and of course fire again, being a ranged fighter, and it's a momentous shift at 5 value into a 4 value defense, eat alive, taking 1 damage through to that Raptor. So currently 2 Raptors at full health and 1 on 3. Not doing too badly at the trade for 1 archer. And here we go again. The Raptors move in and pounce on Yennenga and her archer. It does look like this archer is flanked, and so Lucy's attack card will be +1 value, and it's a pack hunters into a pin the prey. The Raptors overkill their target by quite a bit, and Dan's pin the prey still goes off though, so the opposing fighter moves up to 4 spaces, and Lucy has to discard the last card in her hand, which is Eaten Alive, which would have been a really nice defense to keep in hand. But now she has no cards in hand at all, and it's a pretty vulnerable position. So here is an attack undefended. The Stallion Charge taking out Trax, leaving the other 2 at full health, but of course Stallion Charge will run through the adjacent Raptor, Pogo, and deal the damage there. So 7 health, 6 health, and a full health Yennenga left on the board. Now losing a Raptor does really hurt because it reduces their ability to pile on the aggression, especially since Dan's now out of archers to kind of buffer the offensive formation. So Dan's going to have to position himself very cleverly to avoid being flanked. Here is a surprise volley into a feint. 1 damage does go through, but no archer gain or action gain for Dan there. So well played there by Lucy. And again, maneuvering, still with a few cards in hand, but considering continuing the offense, which is definitely a good way to go at Yennenga. Her values are so high, but she has very little card draw. So if you keep up the pressure, she will eventually run out of defenses. So that might be the strategy here. Dan moves away and takes a shot, and it's a surprise volley, most likely bringing back an archer that way. Also, Yennenga's position is excellent because it bottlenecks the Raptors, and then to flank they'll have to go the other way around, and now because there's an archer there, they're disincentivized to do that as well. So really good play there from Dan. And now the Raptors are on 4 and 5 health respectively, and it looks like they're going to continue the aggression. So here it is. It's a They Remember into shield formation. So Lucy will have to discard a card if she doesn't want the other archer coming back, but she will gain the action. And it's nice to draw out these pretty solid defense cards as the Raptors, so that your bigger attacks can go through. So there's a discard of the disengage to prevent the archer, and then an undefended 5 value eviscerate goes through. So Yennenga, this is the first hit she's taking, and 1 damage siphons off to an archer and 4 goes through to herself. So that, I think, evened the playing field a little bit. It was a really big hit. That being said, 1 with the land is a very strong card, and that was the perfect time to play it once the archer is taking damage. So both of Dan's fighters recover 1 health, and they move up to 2 spaces, and Dan draws a card. So now, notably, the archer is not in the same zone as Yennenga, and there might be a reason for that. So the archer will take a shot at the closest raptor, which looks to be Tiles, and it's a divide and conquer into eaten alive. So fully defended there from Lucy. Unfortunately, there is no damage to an adjacent fighter because the archer is not adjacent, but it was a solid defense. And as we said earlier, the Raptors are pretty low on defenses, so that was a good, solid value block there. So here we have a bit more maneuvering. I think both players are pretty low on cards in hand, so they take a little bit of time to regroup. And Raptors staying out of the same zone as Yennenga and her archer, but within range to just jump in and attack. So here is a maneuver in and then a master of the hunt, meaning that Dan gains an additional action, or 2 actions, so it still has 2 actions left after the maneuver and is likely going to unleash a barrage of attacks here. The first is a momentous shift into a decoy. So that is 2 damage through to that raptor, but Lucy gets to place one of her raptors next to Yennenga, pincering her there. It doesn't fully block her in, she still has an avenue out where her archer is, but she's now flanked by raptors, so if she wants to stay there, the next attack from the raptors is going to be a little bit bigger. And so that gives Dan pause for thought. Does he stay there or does he maneuver away? That was good play from Lucy there, literally the clever girl meme from the film. And so here is a point blank shot from Yennenga into a feint. So that was feinted, no effect damage through. Again, a really nice call there on the defense. So that's Dan's extra action sorted out. He's now only got 2 cards in hand, and it looks like Lucy has card advantage, how the tables have turned. So this would be a really good position to kind of pile on the aggression. If there were several they remembers or eviscerates, that'd be great. But it looks like there is no attack from Lucy, so there might not be any attack cards in hand, as we are shown here. That's probably why. And so Dan will attack, and it's a stealth charge into a feint. So 1 damage through again, but it prevents both Raptors taking an initial ping damage from being run through. We know that there weren't any other options, but that was still a fortunate play there. So here's a maneuver and attack. While you're in a good position, you may as well. Undefended, and it's a pack hunter. So it is a 5 value attack. And since Lucy won the combat, she gets to deal 1 damage to the opposing fighter for each of the Raptors adjacent to them. So that's 2 more damage. So that's 7 in all, bringing Yennenga down to 8 and killing the archer. I think 1 damage might have been missed there, but no big deal, these things happen. So here's a 1 with the land. Keeping the archer alive would have been, I think, slightly more optimal in this play, but again, these are marginal differences. So heal 1, move up to 2 and a cover draw, and then Yennenga will take another step away and boost with a pin the prey to get some distance. So here is a maneuver, and Lucy calculating the distances, wondering if she can boost him with the other raptor. I think she can, if she wanted to. This is a bit of a smaller map, so it probably favours the Raptors a little bit, whereas the archers would want to get range. And here's the attack, and it's a They Remember into Jaws of the Beast. Good job there drawing out a really strong defense card from Dan. That versatile can hit very hard. Although in this map I think it's maximum value of 5, but still, it's a really good card to draw out. And then there's an additional action from They Remember. And of course we know Lucy's hand doesn't have many attack, defense or versatile cards in it, so I think a maneuver is in order there. And staying just out of range so that Dan will have to move in if he wants to take a shot. Here is a Master of the Hunt, so there's 2 actions. And hopefully Lucy drew some sort of defense because this could hurt. And here's an attack at Tiles, and there doesn't look to be defense. So it is a rain of arrows into a volley, fully overkilling that raptor by a lot. I reckon it'd be interesting to have some sort of achievement system where you have to overkill your opponent or it doesn't count. But there we go. So Dan maneuvering away on 1 card. That Master of the Hunt gave him the additional kind of breathing room to make sure that attack went through and that he could maneuver away. But hopefully that's a defense card for him. So here is a working things out. I am not sure I can work out why that's being played instead of maneuvering. I mean, you gain an action, so ultimately it's just kind of getting a card out of your hand. And there's not any boosting that's really available to both players in terms of boosting an attack or defense. But yeah, so the Raptor moves and gains an action and gets the maneuver and then attack again. And it's a clever girl into a skirmish. So Dan does win the combat and is able to move away from the Raptor. and the Raptor doesn't get any action gain because there aren't any flanking Raptors as well. So there we are. Dan on 1 card in hand, maneuvers and maneuvers again to 2. And Lucy now on I think 4 cards or so, and some maneuvers, and can boost into range with the coordinated attack pattern and will attack, keeping up the offense. So here's an ambush into a stallion charge. Discarding Dan's last card, which is a Jaws of the Beast, so it is a 5 value ambush into a 3 value stallion charge, really strong a hit, and then Dan gets to run through the Raptor, dealing a damage on the way. So both players really fighting in the mud at this point. They're on such low hand counts and they're just kind of brawling. But there's only one Raptor left on 4 health and Yennenga on 7 without any archer support, so it is a tight game. Here's a momentous shift at 5 into a decoy. So decoy is a blank 3 at this point because there are no other Raptors, but 2 damage is 2 damage, bringing the Raptor down to 2 health. Can Lucy combo Yennenga from 7 health? Dan, I think, is very low / is out of cards. So here's another working things out, bringing the Raptor around the edge of the map and gaining the action to then maneuver again. Yes. So Lucy just kind of demonstrating that she is truly a low hand count, not wanting to bluff with loads of cards in hand. Again, strong intimidation tactics from that side of the table. So Dan double maneuvers, and again just drawing up for an answer to take out that Raptor from 2 health to 0. Can Lucy combo it? Here's the boost in with a Zero member, which would have been useful in the combo, and Dan defends with a point blank, taking 1 damage in the exchange, but then dealing 2 damage back to the adjacent fighter and closing out the game. So there it is, the Raptors against Yennenga. It's a very exciting matchup, and both fighters have the ability to action gain and to chain out attacks. So ultimately it can come down to who goes first or who gets into a better position. Thank you for watching, everyone. If you want to support the channel, you can check out the QR code on screen or the link in the description below. Cheers, and we'll see you next time.